I met a gypsy.
Did you always know going into the management side of things in back then when you could say action sports? Was there like a crystal ball moment where you were like, this is going to be huge? Like people just have no idea, or was it very just fortuitous that you kind of started doing it and it blew up as you were kind of the guy that, that was sort of the first?
Yeah, I can't. I was not smart enough. I was at the right place at the right time. And if I'm totally honest, just like that Vail Associates story where I went to them first and said, you should open a snowboard shop. This is crazy. So I knew just enough as being a decent skier before I got hurt and then falling in love with snowboarding. I knew just enough about like loving sports and growing up playing mainstream sports. Like I didn't grow up in action sports. I grew up in football, in the city, in the hood, like you just played normal sports. And I knew about IMG. I looked up to Mark McCormick, and then my snowboarder friend Kevin Jones said, "Have you seen Jerry Maguire? You should be my." This story is even funnier, but I don't want to fill up your whole podcast. But
go for it.
I will tell you, and I tell this story, and I look at everybody in the eye and can say this: you make your own luck, that's for sure, but you have to be stupid enough and humble enough to. And here's how it goes: I went to IMG, true story, and said, I want to represent snowboarders. And I think action sports, like after that, like I think it wasn't even action sports back then, it was called extreme sports, which I fucking hate that word. I was trying to explain to them is like, I think I can represent these snowboarders. Like I'm in the industry and they're starting to make money. And Kevin Jones, in fact, like I got a call from Reebok, and this video game I did 1080 snowboarding with Nintendo is blowing up, and like Tony Hawk and there's all these X Games, and X Games was blowing up. And they literally, this is way back then. In fact, it's funny, one of the best agents, who was Ryan Dudgey's agent, Mark Irwin, I didn't know him. I knew some people in the Denver office. We became friends, but like I actually went to one individual, which I'm not going to throw him under the bus, and I said like, hey, would you hire me, or can like you teach me? I want to be an agent like Mark McCormick. When I had learned about him that he was in tennis when there was no money in golf. And I was like, there's no money yet, but I think this is going to, like, again, to your point, not smart enough that I saw a vision. I think there's an opportunity here to do something. And at that point it was just snowboarding, and in his own way, just like Vail said, that's the stupidest idea I ever heard. And I was like, okay, this is going to work. Because here's some college, like mainstream tennis, golf, ski, Olympic agent telling me it's a bad idea. So literally that next day, with a fax machine in my garage, signed Kevin Jones as my first snowboarder. And then Jim Rippey, Teradikitis. And it just went crazy because I was the only one. Like I had way too many clients, if I'm honest. And then all of a sudden I show up at Summer X Games and I've got first, second, and third in BMX vert, first, second, and third in street, first, second, third in skateboarding. The only person I didn't have was Tony Hawk back then. That's it. Everyone else that was winning, because there was nobody doing it, so I had a monopoly. And then what I said back when people asked me these stories years later, well, what happened? Like IMG now is big. Octagon's big in action sports. IMG's big in action sports. I said, ego. And I have no problem saying it. And they say, why do you say that? I said, because even when I launched and I started becoming popular, Forbes magazine, nobody else to talk to, they talked to me. Outside magazine did a big story on me at Gravity Games. I started getting all this press. Here I am, this fucking high school dropout, have no business doing this, just trying to figure it out. Thank God hiring smart people at the time, a lawyer and a CFO who's still at Wasserman, is that I always look at it as the fast lane, middle lane, slow lane. Everything, just let's break it down, common sense. And if they were smart, there was a time when I started that they had so much money. I had no money. I was still broke. I worked for Lamar Snowboards for $28,000 salary. I had no money. I didn't get rich off the snowboard shop. That was a PhD. That was my college degree. I learned how to run a business. Didn't do a great job. Definitely had some hood instincts back there, and $20 off the till type thing. You're just stupid and young kid. You're not paying taxes, whatever it is. And so you learn from all these mistakes. When I became the agent, I definitely was like, okay, I got to figure this out. And so started to ask questions and surround myself with smarter people. The dumb part is even when it was right in front of them, is their ego was that it wasn't big enough. To your point, there wasn't enough data to pay in the deals enough. But what I realized is that by the time they did realize it, and why the family and the Wasserman still be powerful in action sports, is because they let me stay playing too long. And they figured it out. Because if they had done it, I'm not kidding, done it a year before, because IMG got into action sports heavy, didn't so didn't all of a sudden other SFX, other agencies started to do it really. If they had done it like even in 2000, never mind, because I started, If they'd done it in 2000, it would have crushed me. Because I didn't partner with Casey and Wasserman and get money until 2002, 2003. But by then I controlled everything. And at that point, also back in the day, I ran it pretty like it was a family. You didn't come after my clients, and Mirra had my back, and Kerry Hart, these guys had my back. So even when they tried to get, like, they just weren't leaving. And Dave Mirra, by the way, was hesitant. Funny story is I had Ryan Nyquist first, another brother in original family, even before Wasserman. And Dave's like, who's this guy doing all these deals? Because Dave was big enough at the time. He actually had a football agent out of Philly. And he's like, this guy's done nothing for me. And here's Ryan Nyquist, and I'm whooping his ass, getting service and getting more corporate deals. And that's how Dave and we created Miracle Boy and Nyquist. Really, it was the both of them I had. And we dominated in money. I mean, dominated. Those two.
Miracle Boy and Nyquist was my childhood.
Yeah.
Dude, like,
yeah. I mean, it was all our childhood. And by the way, the craziest thing, Chip, is people forget when we look at photos back then, they're my age. Their agent. I was like on the top of the vert ramp. I looked like Bob Burnquist. Like, I look back at some of the photos going, what the fuck were you wearing? I looked like Bob or Dave. Like, I was their age. So we had that bond that way. Thank God.
Yeah.
I wasn't some suit old guy. Right now, like Casey Cochran, this weekend called me sir. I about turned around his mom and dad. I love, they're walking down because Beek's handling. We're walking out of the pits and he's like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was like, God damn it. I used to not have to listen to that, but I guess I'm just old now. But like, there was a time that my clients were my age. They were my best friend. Like, still they are, but it's like, it was different. And so back to that point was like, no, it was just pure street smart. I knew that if I worked harder and I build the faith and confidence in these guys and girls, they wouldn't go for just money. And it's crazy. Now I'm caught up in this NFL world and NBA world. Dude, you wouldn't believe the shit I got to do. I mean, NFL is crazy. It's all money. It's all money. I sit there and bleed and tell them how much I will take care of their son. We will do things different. And it's like, how much money you got? How much money you got? How much? It's just crazy. So I think I was just blessed that I was at the right place at the right time. There's no doubt you make your own luck, but I worked hard and I built loyalty. And actually, as much as the industry hated agents when I came in, snowboarding especially, I think it gives me a little bit of credibility that when Ken Block, God rest his soul, who negotiated against me at DC Shoes, which, by the way, let's remember Travis's deal and Dave Mirra were not small DC shoe deals. They made millions of dollars out of that brand. Retired, sold the company, and chose me to be his agent. I just married Pete Fox and his wife. Right? If I was that much of an asshole or I was that bad, I negotiated against Pete Fox. Some of the biggest deals, would you not agree? In sport. Yeah. Kerry Hart, Dave Mirra, Fox, Ken Roczen, Fox, Adam Sansarillo, Fox. And Pete and I are really good friends. We kept business separate. He always used to say, that's not the guy, like a Ricky Carmichael, it's not the guy I hang out with. That's the guy I do business with, and he's a hard ass, and he cares about his clients, and he's going to push you to be better. So you don't have to love me, just respect what we're trying to do together. And I think that's what happened early on. It helped me out a lot. We're talking 98, 99, 2002. Then 2003, Casey came around and just gave me a plethora of money in a good way and said, go be an entrepreneur. And that's when it was game over at that point. And we ran that for 19 years. And Wasserman's still by far the most powerful action sports agency because when I left, I didn't steal and didn't, I got a lot of brothers there still.
We are excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, GYPSYtales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.